Over 4,000 years ago, an unknown man, born into the lowest class, completely changed the fate of an entire land. Not a mighty king or a noble dynasty, but Sargon of Akkad, the founder of the first empire in human history. But was his career simply the success story of one individual? Or was there a deeper secret behind it? The Akkadian Empire was not just an empire, it was the beginning of great changes. Opening a new chapter in history, leaving an indelible mark that still resonates today. More than 4,000 years ago, the land of Mesopotamia, located between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, was considered the cradle of human civilization. This was where the first city-states in history emerged, such as Uruk, Lagash, and Ur, with their agricultural economies thriving on complex irrigation systems. These rivers not only provided precious water but also created fertile lands that allowed communities to settle and develop. However, the wealth from agriculture also brought about social conflicts. The ruling classes, including nobles and priests, controlled wealth and power, while the majority of the population were farmers or laborers living in poverty. Additionally, disputes over water resources and territories between city-states were incessant, plunging the region into frequent chaos. Wars not only intensified competition but also weakened individual city-states, paving the way for the rise of a figure capable of uniting them all. At the same time, religion played a central role in social life. The people of Mesopotamia believed that gods governed every aspect of life. From harvests to wars, kings often proclaimed themselves as chosen by the gods to legitimize their authority. But what happens when a king fails to protect his subjects from invasions and internal conflicts? That was the moment history called upon Sargon of Akkad, the man who achieved what no one had done before, unifying the entire region. Imagine the setting when Sargon emerged, a world full of instability, where city-states rose and fell unpredictably, and people lived amidst chaos. It was during this tumultuous time that a man from a humble background, with no noble lineage, rose up and changed the fate of an entire region. But how could someone without royal blood or wealth become the founder of the first empire in history? The answer lies in his intelligence, vision, and ambition. This raises an intriguing question. Was Sargon's destiny determined by the gods? Or was it the result of his extraordinary efforts? In the next part, we will delve into the life story of this great man, from his humble beginnings to his rise to the pinnacle of power. The story of Sargon of Akkad begins like a legend. According to tradition, he did not know who his father was, and his mother was an ordinary laborer. At birth, he was placed in a basket and set adrift on the Euphrates River. That basket, much like the story of Moses later, carried him to Aki, a royal gardener. Aki adopted and cared for him, raising him in an environment close to the royal court. From a young age, Sargon displayed intelligence and a strong desire to rise above his circumstances. Thanks to his exceptional abilities, he was brought to work in the palace of King Ur-Zababa in the city of Kish. Initially serving as an attendant, Sargon quickly gained attention for his intellect and talents. However, the instability within the royal family and the ambitions of surrounding city-states made Sargon realize that his path to changing his destiny could not rely solely on loyalty to a king. Sargon capitalized on the internal conflicts among the city-states to build his own forces. He began recruiting loyal soldiers, individuals who were also dissatisfied with the injustices in society. Step by step, he established a disciplined army, bound not only by loyalty to Sargon but also by a shared vision of a more stable future. The decisive moment came when Sargon rose up against King Ur-Zababa. With the support of his army and the people's favor, he overthrew the king and took control of the city of Kish. This was not just a personal victory but the first step in his journey to unify Mesopotamia. Sargon's ambition extended far beyond ruling a single city-state. He dreamed of a great empire where the city-states would no longer conflict but be united under the leadership of a single ruler. But to achieve that dream, Sargon knew he needed more than courage. He required a grand vision, a smart strategy, and widespread support. So, what enabled him to not only overthrow his rivals but also build the first empire in human history? Let us explore this in the next part. When Sargon declared himself king and established the Akkadian Empire, He created the first model of a centralized state. Instead of allowing city-states to self-govern as before, Sargon implemented a centralized administrative system by appointing loyal governors to oversee each region. This not only helped him maintain power but also ensured that the conquered city-states could not rise against him. However, Sargon did not stop at establishing political control. He understood that for an empire to endure, it needed a strong cultural and economic foundation. He focused on developing trade, expanding trade routes to the Mediterranean and even as far as India. Goods from distant lands were brought back to Akkad, enriching the empire and solidifying its position as a center of civilization. Culturally, Sargon promoted the use of cuneiform, one of the earliest writing systems in human history, for record-keeping and administration. Administrative records, legal codes, and religious texts were preserved, enabling the empire to function more efficiently. Furthermore, he constructed grand temples to honor the gods of Mesopotamia, particularly the god Enlil, whom Sargon claimed had chosen him as king. These structures were not only places of worship but also symbols of power and unity. Another noteworthy aspect was the communal life under Sargon's rule. Thanks to the stability he brought, people could focus on production and creativity. Industries such as sculpture, pottery, and textiles flourished, contributing to the prosperity of the entire empire. But were these reforms enough to sustain the empire forever? Let us continue exploring Sargon's military strategies and symbols of power in the next section. One of the factors that made Sargon of Akkad an outstanding leader was his military talent. He was the first in history to establish a standing army, a force not only well-trained but also maintained even during peacetime. This was a stark contrast to other city-states, where armies were typically summoned only during times of war. The presence of a standing army not only ensured the security of Akkad but also enabled large-scale conquests. Sargon was renowned for his bold and effective military strategies. He understood that swift and powerful attacks on the enemy's weak points were the key to victory. His campaigns often targeted smaller city-states, where armies and defensive systems were not well prepared. After conquering these regions, he did not destroy them but instead established new systems of governance, integrating the occupied territories into his empire. Beyond military strength, Sargon skillfully used symbols of power to solidify his position. One of the most iconic images of him is the royal crown, a symbol of authority and legitimacy. He proclaimed himself the king of the four quarters of the world, a title unprecedented at the time, asserting that his power extended not only over Mesopotamia but across the entire known world. These symbols appeared not only in rituals but also in carvings and monuments, serving as constant reminders to his subjects and enemies of the Akkadian Empire's strength. Sargon also cleverly leveraged religion to reinforce his authority. He claimed to be chosen by the god Enlil to rule, making his actions divinely sanctioned. This not only bolstered the loyalty of his subjects but also weakened his opponents, who could not provide a legitimate reason to oppose a king under divine protection. But was military strength and the use of power symbols enough to sustain an empire? After Sargon's death, internal issues and external pressures began to emerge, raising questions about the sustainability of what he had built. In the next section, we will explore the challenges faced by the Akkadian Empire and the legacy Sargon left behind. When mentioning Sargon of Akkad, it is impossible not to acknowledge the significant contributions he made to human history. First and foremost, he was the first in history to establish a true empire, with a centralized system of governance and territories stretching from Mesopotamia to far-reaching regions like the Mediterranean. This marked a monumental advancement compared to the independent city-states that existed before, which were small-scale and lacked coordinated governance. One of Sargon's most important legacies was the establishment of an efficient administrative system. He created a network of local governors tasked with managing territories under the direct supervision of the king. This not only maintained order but also ensured that taxes from various regions were effectively managed. This system laid the foundation for administrative management in later empires such as Babylon and Assyria. Economically, Sargon expanded trade routes, connecting Akkad with other civilizations. Trade not only brought financial prosperity but also fostered cultural exchange between different regions. Through these trade activities, many inventions and ideas from Akkad spread far and wide, contributing to the development of subsequent civilizations. In the cultural sphere, Sargon played a crucial role in advancing cuneiform script. This was the first writing system to be widely used for recording administrative documents, legal codes, and religious texts. Thanks to writing, important records from the Akkadian era were preserved and passed down to future generations, allowing us to better understand one of the earliest stages of human history. However, Sargon's achievements were not limited to political and cultural accomplishments. He also left a valuable lesson in leadership and vision. He exemplified a leader who knew how to seize opportunities, exploit his opponent's weaknesses, and build a robust system to sustain power. His legacy extended beyond Mesopotamia, influencing many later civilizations that learned from Akkad's administrative model and organizational strategies. Yet, no matter how great Sargon was, his empire could not last forever. After his death, Akkad faced significant challenges both internally and externally. In the next section, we will explore the causes of the Akkadian Empire's decline and the lessons history draws from it. The decline of the Akkadian Empire serves as a vivid reminder that no power can last forever. After Sargon's death, his successors lacked the talent or vision necessary to maintain this vast empire. They faced a series of internal and external challenges that ultimately led to the collapse of one of humanity's first empires. One of the primary reasons for Akkad's downfall was the series of uprisings from the conquered city-states. Harsh rule and heavy taxation fueled widespread dissatisfaction among the populace. Without Sargon's firm hand to maintain order, the city-states began to rebel, striving to regain independence and autonomy. These revolts weakened central authority and caused the empire to lose the tight control it once held. Additionally, Akkad faced invasions from nomadic tribes in the north, particularly the Gutians. These invasions not only devastated farmlands but also disrupted vital trade routes, a critical lifeline for the empire. Furthermore, the nomadic tribes were not bound by the political or religious systems of Mesopotamia, making them particularly difficult to confront and subdue. Another contributing factor was natural disasters and climate change. Modern research has uncovered evidence of a severe drought that occurred around the time of Akkad's collapse. Prolonged drought reduced agricultural output, leading to famine and weakening the economy. Without sufficient food to sustain the population and the army, the empire was unable to withstand external pressures. Moreover, the excessive centralization of power in the king and the royal family proved to be a significant vulnerability. When the succeeding kings lacked competence, this centralized system became a fatal weakness. The absence of decentralized governance or robust supporting institutions made the empire susceptible to collapse when its core leadership faltered. By around 2150 BCE, the Akkadian Empire officially fell, leaving a significant power vacuum in the Mesopotamian region. The city-states that had been part of the empire reverted to independence, and new civilizations, such as Babylon, began to rise and take its place. Although the Akkadian Empire ceased to exist, the foundations laid by Sargon and his successors continued to influence human history for centuries. The collapse of Akkad serves as a reminder that every empire, no matter how great, must eventually face unavoidable challenges. However, Sargon's legacy is not only in his political and military achievements but also in the lessons of leadership and vision he left for future generations. Although the Akkadian Empire collapsed thousands of years ago, its historical significance remains deeply embedded in the flow of human civilization. Sargon of Akkad was not only the founder of the first empire in history but also a symbol of innovation and forward thinking. What he built laid the foundation for many crucial concepts related to centralized power, state organization, and cultural cohesion, concepts that were later adopted and developed by great empires like Babylon and Assyria. One of the most important legacies of the Akkadian Empire is its affirmation of the power of a centralized political system. Sargon created a governance model in which the king's authority was reinforced by the presence of loyal officials. This was in stark contrast to the earlier city-states of Mesopotamia, where power was often fragmented among nobles and priests. Thanks to this system, Sargon was able to maintain control over a vast and culturally diverse territory. Economically, Sargon ushered in a new era of international trade. The trade routes connecting Akkad to the Mediterranean, the Indian subcontinent, and even more distant regions facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, and technologies between civilizations. This circulation not only brought economic prosperity but also fostered cultural exchange, laying the foundation for a more interconnected world. The cultural legacy of Akkad is also undeniable. Under Sargon's reign, cuneiform script was standardized and widely used, not only for recording administrative documents but also for preserving literary and religious works. This was a significant advancement in the preservation of knowledge, helping future generations understand the values and thought processes of those who came before. Moreover, Akkadian art and architecture left a lasting impression, with grand temple structures and sculptures depicting the king's military achievements. However, perhaps the greatest significance of the Akkadian Empire lies in the new chapter it opened in political and social thinking. Sargon proved that a leader did not have to come from noble lineage to change history. With his talent, vision, and determination, he broke through traditional barriers, setting a precedent for future leaders. Later empires, such as Babylon, Assyria, and even Mediterranean civilizations, learned from Akkad, from military organization, administrative systems, to building symbols of power. All bore the imprint of Sargon. Even the idea that an empire could unite many different cultures under a single government became a model repeated over centuries. In the end, the story of Sargon of Akkad is not only the tale of a lost empire but also a lesson in the power of will and innovation. He demonstrated that, in the most chaotic times, an individual with a grand vision could change the fate of an entire region. And though Akkad has vanished, its spirit, and the values it represented, will forever live on in human history. If you found this story interesting and want to explore more historical secrets, don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss the next exciting videos. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.